How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. It feels like it's been a long time since we played this. It was quite a depressing note. I have to actually be honest. I started exploring some of the other routes in the medium because I was actually very sad from the last episode. I think it's really good. I think just to catch you up, if you have forgotten, we had some more rendezvous with Emmy, but noticed that Emmy was very much deflective about anything that seemed to imply longevity of any kind. Turns out this was for a reason, because she doesn't really see herself as needing companionship. She just doesn't feel like she needs anybody or she wants to have anybody to rely on. There's a lot of baggage there, has a lot to do with like her family, her accident, and just her self-pride. And probably a lot I don't understand. It's so human though. That's what's so crazy about it. It feels like a real conversation you have with somebody. And Hisao did not know how to handle it, and it did not end well. But hopefully we'll proceed forward and do better. But I do want to make a quick announcement because I can already tell I'm going to have a lot to say about this visual novel. I mean, most visual novels are pretty linear. They have these cool like endings or interactions, but most of the time it's very linear. It's been a while since I've covered something with so much variety in the storytelling. And let me tell you, I've come to appreciate each route is amazingly different than I've experienced up till now. There's usually parallelisms between, like, because there's usually two girls that are options that are together, like their routes are parallel. And so those might have similarities. I actually have purposely not done Rin's Path at all because I want to save it for after I finished with Emmy, since I know there's going to be some parallelism, though not so much as far as I know. But I have a lot I'm going to say. I'm going to really want to talk about. So keep in mind, if any of you are unknowing about this, at the end of a series, I do a live stream on the following Saturday. Maybe not like, since this one's on Friday, it wouldn't be like the next day, but probably the following week. I'll post it on my Discord. And probably put a comment on my channel as well. But I'll be doing a live stream, which I call a rap party, where I discuss the visual novel. And behind the scenes, I typically review and look at all the things that I didn't cover in my videos, because again, I want to make sure I don't reveal all the content in the storyline, because like in my playthrough, because I don't want to ruin like the potential for people to explore, especially when one like this where each route is so different. I don't want to ruin that experience. You can easily get this game for free. So I want you guys to be able to experience that for yourselves if you haven't yet. But the rap party is meant to be the like no bars, spoilers allowed conversation where I talk about it just as a whole. Like, what is it? Do I recommend it? What did I like? What did I not like about it? It's not so much of a review. It kind of is a review, but a lot of reviews are done in a way where you avoid spoilers. This is more of a like my final thoughts and wanting to hear your thoughts too. Anybody who have experienced this before obviously know how it goes, but for those of you who might not or who are curious, I actually try and encourage those of you in the community like who watch this video to join me for that and to kind of come on and talk about topics that you find interesting. Obviously you don't have to. I can easily talk about it for myself for over an hour. But I'd love to have your thoughts on it. And if you don't feel comfortable like joining the Discord and actually like conversing with me live, you can also go into the comment section. I'll try and respond to those. I'm getting a lot better about that because I've been practicing with my live streaming. I'm getting better every time. So just an FYI, because this one's going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's probably been one of my longer rap parties. So I just want to give a heads up before we get there so you know what to expect, because I'm hoping that you guys could join me, because I know a lot of you are dying to hear my thoughts about the other routes. But once again, I only show one on my channel, barring special exceptions of necessity. Steins Gate being a perfect example, where I would be missing tons of core content if I just stopped when I get an ending. You know, like there's too much content being missed there. This one's a little different, but I guess you could argue it's kind of the same, but regardless, we're going to jump back into this. We're going to see if we can find some solutions with Emmy. I think there's a lot of hope. I think Emmy's got a lot of stuff to work through. And I think we can't go into this with the idea of wanting to fix her. That's exactly the thing that she didn't want us to do. That was her big thing. So she thought we would make it better, give her legs back, destroy the fan fame. Like no. She just needs to understand that, like, what we expected from this and that we care about her deeply, and we're going to see how things play out. This is going to be a heartful episode. I hope I don't cry. Oh, man. Alright, anyway. Here we go. The morning comes too soon on the heels of a sleepless night. Is this how Emmy's been spending her nights? Staring at the wall or ceiling, trying to stop thinking about whatever it is. Her, in my case. The clenched feeling in my gut's still there. It's in mine too, man. It's been knotting and twisting ever since I think about it. I can't rely on you. Words spoken so casually. Almost like she was teasing me or chastising me for suggesting that the earth is flat. That's how it's gotta be. The way it's gotta be sucks. Yeah. That is like the best, like it's such a summary of this like thoughts. It's like the way this is sucks. I'm feeling so miserable that I very nearly decided to skip the run. That would be stupid though. It's not like something I should do just to see her. It's not something I should do just to see her. Sure, that was the original reason, but it's something more now. I've started to enjoy the running itself. Ah, I wish. There are worse ways to get the blood flowing anyway. Never thought I'd say it after the first week or so, but I feel a lot better after a run. Like, no matter what else I do today, I've done at least that one thing. It wakes me up, too, and Emmy herself said that running always clears her mind. Maybe it'll help clear mine. I hope so. Oh, boy. I'm kind of thinking she's not going to be here. That's my instinct tells me that Hisao's going to have to do this run on his own, because I think she got shook up by our conversation more than she probably let on. Like, she was angry, obviously, but I think she was having a hard before. I think she's gonna be worse now, but who knows? I don't know. The morning's cool and clear and a bit humid. Summer's making itself known, it seems. Emmy's already stretched out when I arrive and greets me with a smile and a wave. Oh, that actually hurts more. Hey, Hisao. The sight of her so chipper like this is a kick in the nuts. Yeah! How could you be so happy after yesterday? I give her a half wave and I'm surprised to receive a hug. Hey, about last night? Here it comes. I wanted to say thanks. I actually managed to get some sleep for the first time in a while, and I think it's because of our talk. So, thanks. Oh, that hurts, man. Oh my gosh. I've been friend zoned before. And it kind of feels like this, but this one's, oh my gosh, it's like she just threw a javelin right into our soul. How could she see better after that chat? She basically told me that she wouldn't get any closer to me, and that let her sleep well? Excuse me, but what the hell? Emmy either didn't notice my bafflement or chose not to notice. No telling with her anymore. Oh, no problem. Glad it helped. The venom that threatens to drip into my voice is controlled for now. Nope, not mine had venom. But I think I'd better start running now before I do anything stupid. Amy seems equally willing to get started, and before long we're darting around the track. I can tell she feels more relaxed. Her running's gone back to the more graceful movements I remember from when I first watched her. It's a stark contrast to the almost brutal way she'd been hurtling herself around the track these past few days. Talk really does seem to have helped her. Pity it couldn't help me. Get into the rhythm of running, thinking back to when I couldn't afford to think about anything else besides keeping my breathing steady and my legs moving. Guess those days are gone. At least for the first couple laps. Annoyed at the lack of success I'm having with clearing my head, I increased the pace. Uh-oh. I think we're about to have a little bit of an accident here. Hisao, come on! Your health's not worth it, man! And there's the burning sensation in my legs. The breathing's coming ragged in my chest, pounding in my heart, which I still need to be careful about. But it does seem to have gotten stronger. I can feel it pumping blood through my veins. The sound thrums in my ears, but instead of being panicked as I was in the day of the show, in the snow, I'm instead filled with elation. Yes, it's working. My heart, the fatal flaw that landed me here, has improved. I'm able to keep going now. Maybe one day I'll be able to stop worrying as much. And now it doesn't matter. I have no idea what to do about Emmy and me. All that matters is my arms and legs continue to pump in concert one with another. Nothing else. As I hit the final stretch, I remind myself that running really does help, but not as much as I'd hoped. I do feel better. As I walk the last few hours to cool down, I begin to remember last night in a slightly less emotional manner. Emmy wants me to stay distant from her. I can't bring myself to do so. There's got to be a way around this somehow, some kind of middle ground I can reach. Not sure what that middle ground is, though. Dang, I was almost feeling optimistic. Nice run, Hisao. You really improved. Nice run. That's all I can hope for now, isn't it? Congratulations, Hisao. You're pathetic. I gotta change my attitude. Well, you know, I'm pretty awesome. And yet I just keep saying things I don't mean. Any second now I'll be as good as hiding my problems as Emmy is. I like to think so. Why does she have to do this to me? Say something that with like that with such a real affection in her voice that it makes my heart leap. She doesn't mean it. She can't. Must be doing a worse job than I thought because Emmy peers closely at me. Hey, you feeling okay? Maybe we should get to the nurse, huh? Yeah, I hate to keel over on you. Emmy looks a little shocked at my bitter tone. Don't say things like that. Oh, I did not do that voice properly. You've already done it once before, you know. Why does she act so affectionate? She doesn't really care. I thought she made that clear. But despite all that, I'm finding myself apologizing, even though I shouldn't have to. Even though she's probably just putting on an act. Sorry. Come on, let's see the nurse. I can't get myself to calm down the whole time. Man, oh my gosh, this is so me. It's creepy. Oh, this is exactly how I get if I get really upset with somebody. Like, I really try and bury it. I really try and put on a face and just like move on. I'm kind of worse than Hisao is. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Well, actually, no, take that back. Hisao and I are oddly very similar. Despite the fact that he's kind of a blank shell, ultimately, like, when it comes to how he handles stress and handles these types of situations, he's very similar to me. He's got that blend of being able to be comfortable talking to other people, but also really always doubting a lot of his interactions with others. It's something that's come out a lot more in his in the few other beginnings I've played through. So, like, I don't know, maybe that's part of why this story is so appealing. It's like he is kind of a blank slate, but at the same time, he is relatable, because I think that's the way it is for a lot of us, especially us who are probably more likely to play a visual novel. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Video games are things for to escape, things to bring us around, and also visual novels are impressive because they help us kind of feel like we're having conversations or privy to conversations with actual people because they're so well written, and the visuals and the music enhance that effect like tenfold. So yeah, those of us who watch visual novels are probably disproportionately more likely to be more introverted and find it harder to have casual conversations with just random people or to process emotions properly. So Hisao being like that and yet also being social at the same time really just fit the bill, and like it fits me on a kind of very personal level. So Katawa Shoujo has really stuck to me a lot more than I thought it would. Like from the beginning, I was kind of just here for the story, but it's become something more for me. It's really fascinating. Every time I feel like we've gone over what happened last night, Emmy does something or says something that shows affection, and I'm back to the beginning. The image of her ending that conversation haunts me. It was like the final twist of the knife that left me feeling bereft of any hope that Emmy and I could be more than what we are. And this is what's interesting. God, I'm going to be talking a lot this episode, so expect a long one. Remember, I kept bringing up my experience with my high school crush slash... I don't even think we were quite girlfriend, boyfriend. We technically did start going out for a while before we went our separate ways, but in hindsight, I don't know if that was more of a reflexive desperate need to hold on to each other despite the fear of having to go our separate ways. I do think there was real emotion there. She was not the kind of person to lie, and so I think we really did care for each other. But I remember we finally got back together. It'd been like 2 years from her going to Germany and college and me doing my thing down in North Carolina for a little while and coming home. And I remember that first night we got back together, I was so excited to see her. I was like, I knew we couldn't just pick things up where we left off, but I wanted to see what would happen. I wanted us to, like, I don't know, get to know each other again and kind of go through that whole process again. And at first she was very nice and very responsive, but through the evening we kind of had the similar kind of talk, and she pretty much told me that she didn't think that we were going to be a thing anymore. But she kept being kind and showing like attention, not quite at the Emmy level, but very similar, hauntingly similar already. Where I kind of was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, why? Like, I wanted desperately to understand why she'd come to that decision, because she never explained it very well, at least not adequately enough. But I was so, I don't know. It's one of my biggest failings in life. And I changed a lot after that, and now I wouldn't have let that happen, but I was so just kind of caught up in everything that I just kind of let it go. I didn't really fight it because I didn't really know what to say. Now, if it happened today, I would have fought for it. But that's me now. Back then, and then, here's the other thing too, though. I really don't think it would have worked out long term with us. Maybe we could have made it work, but having now dated other people and stuff more too, I really could see that there would have been problems. There would have been things that would have kept it being for a longevity. Maybe she just saw that before I did, but not like having someone like after having such a schism like talk to go back to just being friendly with each other. It hurt, and to this day, I kind of wish I could like catch up with her and be like, look, I know it's way in the past, but past me is kind of still bothered by what happened. Can we just talk about why? And then I could be fine. The nice thing is, though, I've actually gotten more past it than I was. I still clung to it for several years. But to be fair, before playing through this, I hadn't thought about her in years. So I think I really am beyond it now, but I remember that feeling. And it's funny how relatable it is now. Anyway, and where were we at this point? A little more than friends who happen to fluff. I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, especially these words. I have to be careful with YouTube now. And really, it's not like I don't enjoy the time I spend with her. Said so the other day myself. I very nearly didn't even bring up anything with her. I was just gonna hop on in there and let it ride, wasn't I? Yeah, here's the thing. That's where me and Hisao might be different. Like, I could definitely understand, like enjoying being with somebody, but the point when it became this disparaging, I couldn't handle that anymore. I would not be able to have any more rendezvous with her, I don't think. Or if I did, I would hate them in a weird way. Like, sure, I'd be present and perform, I'm sure, but like, I'd feel terrible afterwards, and I don't think I'd be there emotionally. And for me, just in real life, that just doesn't seem to be worth it. Casual, like, friends with benefits relationships are things that I've never understood. I can't detach those types of actions with the emotions. And that's me. Sure, I'm sure other people can, but even people who claim they can, I think a lot more of them have issues with that, trying to be casual like that. Anyway, let's keep going. Whew, so many emotions in me right now. This is going to be a wild video, guys. Just buckle up, alright? Because, oh boy. With this running through my head, I find myself in front of the nurse's office, still brooding as he checks out Emmy. Emmy comes out, bounding to the door, gives me a kiss, and darts to the shower, I assume. I would almost want to puke if I were him. Meanwhile, the nurse beckons me into his office to give the ritual once over. Any problems today? Nah, even pushed a little harder today than I have in the past. I seem to be able to handle it. That's uncharacteristically risky coming from you, Hisao. You've been hanging out with Emmy too much. She's rubbing off on you, and not necessarily in a good way. At the mention of Emmy's name, I can't help but frown unhappily in spite of my efforts at control. Yeah, see, he's like me. Like, we like to pretend we can control our emotion, and we can't. Well, now, this is new, don't you think? Last I checked, your usual response to Emmy's name was a grin, not a frown. What exactly happened between you two? Because Emmy doesn't seem to be in on it, whatever it is. She looked more relaxed than I've seen her in weeks, which is unusual for this time of year. What do you mean by that? By what? For this time of year? Kept trying to figure out what's been bothering her, but she clams up every time I broach the subject. Then last night she said, let me guess, she won't tell you because she says she can't trust you? And now you're crushed because you thought the two of you were so much more than what she seems to think, right? More or less. How does he know this so well? How the heck do you know? Hisao, I'm the nurse. It's my job to know these things. Plus, I've known Emmy for long enough to know that she'd try to do something like this. It's just like her. He says this in a sort of half affectionate, half frustrated tone. This would seem more appropriate if he had a cigar dangling from his lips. As it is, he seems willing to make do with a pen. Look, you mind if I give you some advice? Honestly, I could be making a mistake here, but I honestly think it's probably, like, I'm willing, throw me a lifeline, dude. I need something. Because on Hisao's behalf, I feel like puking. What was it that Muto said yesterday? Oh yeah, right, the scientific approach is like, look at the way, like, if you can't observe an object directly, observe what's around it. can't observe a thing, then observe what's around it. I feel proud of myself, but it's true. It's a very scientific way of thinking. Worth a shot. The nurse knows Emmy better than I do, I'll wager. Sure, I'm open to suggestions. Honestly, I'm kind of lost. I've got no idea how to deal with this. I never would have guessed. He grins while he says this. I think he's kidding. Look, here's the deal. Emmy is stubborn. You should know that by now. If you don't, then you're pretty unobservant. And I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. I'm so grateful. Anyway, if she's decided that she doesn't want to talk about what happened, then she's not going to talk about what happened. Has she said anything about what's been bothering her? Even a hint? Well, she did say it's like she's having nightmares about the accident. Really? You're making progress then. That's good. Well, I guess I can fill you in on this without violating my strict non-interference policy when it comes to Emmy making stupid decisions. The anniversary of her accident is coming up soon. She gets depressed around this time, because it was a pretty traumatic event considering what she lost. That's the other thing. She acted like she's lost more than just her legs. What happened? Didn't you just... Her dad said her mom said her dad died. That's a huge thing to lose. Well, not going there. You'll have to ask somebody else about that, because that's a whole can of worms I'm not about to open. If Emmy wants you to know, she'll tell you in her own time. You've just got to be patient, that's all. Why are you even helping me with all this? Because you're good for her. She trusts you, even if you don't think she does. And you've got the best chance of out of anyone at the school right now to help her through this time of year. She won't accept my help, but she might accept yours if you don't screw it up. So don't screw it up. Got it? I open my mouth to respond, but a knocking at the door interrupts me. Hey, you guys still in there? Just a moment, Emmy. Give us a second to get our pants back on. Oh no! The door bursts open. Emmy glaring dives at the nurse. A-hole. Didn't mean to get your hopes up. Hey, can we leave me out of this? Anyway, what's up, Emmy? Forget something? I try to take a more cheerful tone with her. No need to upset her, so you can play at the everything's fine game. Actually, I forgot to ask you something. Oh, what's that? Do you want to come with me on a trip to my house? My mom's making dinner, and I thought you might want to join us. Well, of course I accept. Emmy punches the nurse's arm playfully. Not you, idiot. You were over last week. Wow. Guess they are close. I was talking to Hisao. Oh, interesting. Meeting the parent. I'd love to go, Emmy. Thanks. The nurse raises an eyebrow but says nothing. Great. I'll be in my room. Swing by after your shower and change into something clean and we'll grab the bus. Sounds good. I'll see you in a bit. This time it's me who leans in for a quick kiss before darting off to my room. I was literally about to say this. What an interesting development. What? What? I'm just... Oh my gosh. Alright. So remember how I said that this has been super parallel to my own experiences up till now? We have just deviated hard. Dang. Of course, when it came to that particular friend, I was introduced to the parents and over at the house long before we started dating. Oh my gosh. I still remember, actually. It's one of those stupid memories you have. It's still one of my favorite ones. She was a big Star Wars fan too, which is great because she was one of those people who you never guess was a nerd, but she's a hardcore nerd. She loved Lord of the Rings, Star Trek. The crazy thing, she's way more into Star Trek than I was. I never would expect that, but it was really fun. However, we were watching Return of the Jedi, the Star Wars Episode 6. I can't believe I was going to say the last one, but it's like, nope, that doesn't mean anything anymore. It's my personal favorite movie, honestly. And we finished the movie, and there's a confrontation between Luke Skywalker and his father, spoilers, Darth Vader. And they have their fight, and Luke really kind of goes crazy on him for a little bit and severs off his robotic arm. And then the Sidious takes this as his step into the dark side, and he's like, all right, now kill your father and take his place. And then he's like, no, and he throws his lightsaber away. He's like, I'll never join you. And we were talking about that, and she was saying that Luke went into that and he was so much better than his father because he didn't let his anger control him. And I countered with the idea like, well, no, we see in the end clearly that when Vader threatens to kill Leia if he can't make Luke work for him instead, Luke snaps. He gets angry, and he uses his anger to finally defeat Darth Vader. He did. He did exactly what the Emperor was hoping for and what the Emperor saw and envisioned him doing. But Luke stood there, witnessing his own feelings, acknowledging the strength that his anger had given him, but then rejected it wholeheartedly, to the point where he cast his weapon aside, standing before the very man he was determined to end, and said, I would rather die than let those feelings control me. And that was what I thought the powerful lesson of Star Wars was, is that Luke felt anger. He'd used the anger, and like, unlike his father, when his father used his anger and did something terrible, he decided that he had too far gone, and he just plunged into the dark side full, like, face first. But Luke stared at the darkness in his soul, and he rejected it. And we fought about that, because she thought that only somebody a Paragon could have defeated Darth Vader, that he couldn't have been truly angry and used that anger and relied on that dark side energy to fight. And I was determined to say, no, the whole story of Luke Skywalker is that he's better than his father because he has weaknesses and he rejects them. But it's still one of my favorite conversations because of just how powerful that was. And the reason why I brought that up is because like that was in front of her family, and her family was, I don't know, they did not know what to make of the two of us. What an interesting development. Maybe we're getting closer after all. Maybe Amy's finally ready to open up a little. Or maybe she's just being polite, and a free meal seems like a good way to apologize for last night. Great, now I can't decide whether to be excited, nervous, or depressed. How about all three? You're a teenager, you can do that. Settle for a combination of all three, and I'll do the shower. Oh, Hisao, you and I are like souls lost in different worlds. I don't think I like riding on buses. Actually, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that as a fact. I sway a lot, they smell funny, and you can feel every bump in the road. I'm really not looking forward to this. Plus, Emmy's legs keep making me make clanking noises that draw attention of everyone else on the bus. She's in shorts again. She's got long socks drawn up her prosthetics so they don't look so obviously false again. But that doesn't stop the odd look or two every time her legs bump together with an audible clunk. I shift nervously in my seat, and Emmy raises her eyebrow questioningly. She doesn't seem to mind the stares. Either that or she doesn't even notice that people are staring. I'm sure she's gotten her fill of odd looks before. After a certain amount of time, I doubt she'd notice anymore. Not that she'd ever tell me if I asked. Another fact is, I'm not just uncomfortable about the bus. I can't seem to come to terms with the fact that Emmy appears to be trying to bring me closer while at the same time pushing me away. The nurse said she trusts me, even if it doesn't look like it. But I'm not sure I can trust the nurse. He's protective of Emmy, just like I'm protective of Emmy. I'd be likely to say something to make her look good if someone asked me about her. So he might just be doing that. Still, there was something about the way he seemed genuinely surprised that Emmy invited me along. Maybe last night's talk helped more than I think, but I'm still worried. Again, remember I said before, I talked about how, like, my friend, the same girl, man, I'm talking about her a lot, when she had that bad breakup and it was starting to destroy her soul and erode away her ability to sleep and to eat and to do everything, and I, like, kind of forced her to, like, do the thing that she did to calm down, to, like, de-stress, which was writing. She came back the next weekend, very similar, with a big bounce in her step, and like she wholeheartedly, like I remember she specifically came up to me and like gave me a hug. She said, thanked me, saying that like it was exactly what she needed. Maybe that's what happened here. Maybe she really needed to just like vent out her feelings, even if they aren't honest, maybe, or maybe there's obviously more to it than what she said. Maybe she just needed to be able to finally vocalize it, and that alone decoupled all this stress for her. Being the parents is a big deal, right? Not that I haven't already met Emmy's mother, but that was just as an acquaintance. Now it's going to be Emmy's boyfriend, with everything that implies. I feel my heart pounding in my chest, an echo of the snow-covered afternoon that feels like it was so long ago that it might be well be another life entirely. Except then, I didn't know what was going on. I also didn't have medication to help prevent the thing from spiraling out of control. Come a long way in terms of my physical health. For my second time today, I feel like I've been able to live normally now, or at least as normally as possible. Now I only manage the relationships as well as I manage my heart. I'd be in great shape. Oh, Hisao. Well, we're here. Amy grabs my hand as soon as we stepped off the bus. She starts heading down the street almost immediately. Come on, we got a couple blocks until my place. What? Oh, okay. I follow Emmy down the street, watching her come confident stride. She's settling quite a quick pace for just a walk. I guess she's anxious to get there. So, does your mom do this sort of thing often? Nah, not too frequently. Mom's never been much for playing hostess. Oh yeah? Yeah, my dad was always the one pushing her to have people over. The sudden and unprompted reference to her father catches me off guard. And from the look on Emmy's face, I'm not sure she meant to mention him. I think I've only ever heard her talk about it once. All I remember is that Emmy's mom told me that he wasn't around anymore. I'm pretty sure she said he died. Oh, your mom prefers solitude? Emmy laughs, either from relief that I didn't ask about her father or from finding my statement actually funny. Not at all. She's why I'm such an outgoing person, you know? She just prefers to be a guest rather than a hostess. It's less stressful that way. Or so she says. Well, she's freaking true. It's right. Good grief. I guess it makes sense. Good goodness. One of the most stressful things I do nowadays is hosting new people over at our house for the first time. Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's probably just a me thing, but there's something panicky about that. Clearly, she's had to meet her girlfriend's mother for dinner. Emmy giggles again and speaks in a teasing tone. Nervous, Hisao? You shouldn't be, you shouldn't be, you know? It's not that big of a deal. Just dinner at my house, that's all. Yeah, have you ever brought home a boyfriend before? I confess that part of me is dreading to hear the answer to this. I know very little of Emmy's past relationships. I don't even know if there were any past relationships. No, I guess I haven't. Hey, maybe this really is kind of a big deal after all. Oh good, now I'm twice as nervous. So to tell the truth, I'm pretty happy to hear that in the first one. Maybe we've got something special after all. And then we're going to have a flip coin right here. Bolstered by this new thought, I managed to calm down considerably by the time Emmy knocks on our front door. Hey Mom, open up, we're here. Oh, hello. Yeah, she's wearing the same outfit as last time. The door swings open and Miss Ibarazaki standing there greeting her daughter. The grin is still surprisingly similar to Emmy's. I'm never going to get used to that. You know, people normally wait a few minutes before they start shouting at the door. And most mothers say hello to their daughters instead of scolding them right away. Of course. Welcome home, dear. I've missed you. An affectionate hug later, we're inside. It's only then that Emmy's mom seems to remember that I'm actually here. Whatever kitchen they use is very lovely looking with the decorations. Very simplistic. Ah, and hello, and hello to you too, Hisao. How are you? I'm quite well, thank you. Nice to have, not to have school to worry about for a little bit. Ah, yes, you finished your exams, haven't you? That must be quite a relief for you both. It certainly weighed off my mind, that's for sure. Mine too. I think I slept well for the first time in weeks last night from relief alone. If this news is a surprise to Emmy's mother, she doesn't show it. Still, her response betrays a note of interest. Is that so? I'm very glad to hear that, Emmy. You know I get worried about you when you get all wound up about, well, exams. Certainly Emmy's mother knows something I don't, or rather she doesn't know that Emmy's told me about the nightmares. It's interesting being able to observe how Miss Ibarazaki covers for Emmy, that protective instinct to make sure that I don't know more than Emmy's willing to tell me. I mean, I think it's fair. I suppose Emmy's got more in common with quirks. I suppose Emmy's got more in common with quirks than I ever realized. Quirks, like, oh, he's talking about some type of particle quirks, yeah. Moves around fast, possible to understand through direct observation. Yet she has an effect on everyone she encounters. I wonder if Miss Ibarazaki will figure out that I know about the nightmares, or is she just keeping everything secret from everybody? Yeah, it's not as bad this year as in the past. Hisao helped me stay focused. Okay, I know that's not true. She even cut off contact outside of school hours during exam week. But she did see me during the day, and she told me that more than once that morning runs are the only thing that she looked forward to during exams, so maybe it's not that much of a lie. Either way, I hear that being around her has helped even a little bit. It makes me feel a little bit better. Emmy's mother raises an eyebrow at this statement. Either she doesn't believe Emmy, or she's as surprised as I am. Well, then it appears that it's a good thing you two have become so close. I'd tell you to take good care of my daughter, Hisao, but it looks like you're already doing that. Emmy grins at this and seems to take pride in me having managed to ingratiate myself with her mother so easily. Actually, I'd say your daughter's been the one taking care of me. She's gotten me out and running. Probably been more active since meeting her than ever was even before. Actually, I never thought about that much, nor have I ever appreciated the humor in it. I wasn't too active before my heart attack. Pickup games of soccer didn't really count since they weren't that common. So now that I know for sure that I have a weak heart, now I run every day, pushing my luck with the help of my medication. I chuckled quietly. I realized that I had never finished my sentence. Well, before I had my heart attack, I wound up at the school here. Come out so casually, there were times that I would have thought twice about what was wrong with me at all. But now, it just seems silly to care, especially in the company of Amy and her mother. If Amy can be cavalier about her disability, then so can I. Good job, Hisao, finally. I think back to the track meet, when Amy declared herself the fastest thing on no legs. The fact of her obvious loss had never seemed to bother her, at least not in public. Being stuck in the wheelchair frustrated her, I know, but even that was something she had dealt with on her own, despite my efforts to the contrary. Amy has a way of bringing out more active side in people. I've never quite figured out how she does it. Those puppy dog eyes she gets, for starters. I'm not surprised that she managed to rope you into an exercise routine. If Rin weren't as stubborn as she is, I think Amy would have gotten her out and running with you too. Oh, that reminds me. Rin says hello. I drifted to the outer edge of the conversation again as we moved to the dining room to eat. It smells delicious in here, and the spread that Emmy's mom has produced is impressive. Wow, you made enough to feed an army in here. Is it too much? Well, you can always take some leftovers with you when you go. That sounds great. I can only handle cafeteria food for so long. Sometimes home cooked would be a welcome change of pace. What he said. Thanks, Mom. The food tastes as good as it smells, and there's a lull in the conversation while we all dig in. Emmy has Ultra played with the usual amount of gusto. I will admit that I set a pretty fast pace myself. So, Hisao, I hear that you and my daughter have gotten rather close, The urge to say something like, not really, it's so strong that I open my mouth to say it, but then reasserts control. We are close. There's no getting around it. I mean, Emmy's brought me here, hasn't she? Fortunately, both Emmy and her mother seem to take my reaction as a sign that I'm caught off guard, rather than considering saying something cruel. Suppose we have. I blame the morning runs myself. You make it sound like a bad thing, Hisao. Well, I, for one, found it a relief. Why's that? Emmy's always been a popular girl, but never made many close friends. This is a bit of news to me. I've always seen Emmy chatting with her classmates in the hallways. Well, that doesn't mean anything. I chatted with tons of people. Heck, there were people who actually thought I was friends with them who I barely remembered. I don't know, man. Sometimes you can be social, but not actually connected with any of those people. I don't know. Certain this whole track team seems to love her, but it's true that she chooses to isolate herself during lunch with Rin and me. Not exactly the sort of behavior one expects from a popular girl, after all. Then again, I've experienced her unwillingness to get close firsthand, so I can't say I'm not surprised. I was beginning to have my doubts. Emmy rolls her eyes to see and grumbles something I can't quite make out. Huh? What? What was that you just said? Nothing. Missy Berzaki chokes on her dinner with laughter. Or her drink with laughter. You've been hanging out with the nurse too long, Emmy. I'm gonna have to talk to him about corrupting my daughter. Somehow I don't think that would be very effective. I think most of it from you anyway, not the nurse. Don't listen to her, Hisao. She's a born liar. Yeah, right. Oh, I don't know, Emmy. I think your mother has a point. What? You traitor! You're supposed to take my side of this. Yeah, but you did play with the leg after we— Ow! I can't get the shin from unmistakable plastic foot tussling off, and not before Missy Bersaki's eyebrows shoot upwards. What about your leg? It wasn't a big deal, that's all. I just, went to her a bit. The last few mumbled out words are quickly deciphered by Emmer's mother. I suspect she's experienced this sort of thing, and a worried frown appears on her face. Aw, crap, maybe we should have said that. So that's why you kept dodging my calls. Oh, Emmy, I know how much you hate being in a wheelchair. No wonder you've been in such a mood lately. Yeah, she's been much happier on her feet, so to speak. Well, of course. She spent enough time in a chair just after the accident. She didn't get any prosthetics immediately? No, she had to finish healing up before they let her start the sort of therapy. You've got to go through to adjust to those things. Especially since she wanted to run on them. I had no idea. Yeah, it sucked. Oh, did you see Rin's mural at the festival? Immediate change of topic. Emmy's sudden change of topic makes you realize belatedly that she's been fidgeting this whole time her mother and I have been talking. I should have figured that her being a little skittish when it comes to talking about the accident, even around her mother. No, I didn't make it out to the festival, remember? Although I got a glimpse of it at your track meet. It seemed pretty weird to me. I think that's more or less how she was going for. She talked a lot about it being dreamlike. Or trying to make it dreamlike. Rin's art is one of those things I don't think I'll ever understand. Most artists will be one of those things. I recently started watching, I think it was on Hulu. It's like a glassblowers competition, like a reality glassblowers competition show or something. And like, I can appreciate glassblowing. I think it's really, really cool. But a lot of those people are very, very artistically minded, and I just do not understand it. They do like interpretations and abstracts. I really there's a mindset I don't get. I can think, abstract thinking is one thing. Being able to take a problem and looking at it in different, more critical, and possibly even unique ways is not really something I'm foreign to. But, I don't know, there's a level of it where it just becomes, like, absurd. And I just don't find that as appealing. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a prude in a way, but, like, I just don't get it. I don't know. I also don't find it very, like, a lot of the works that they were, like, really praising or would win the competitions were not the ones I'd want to take home and, like, put in my house. Maybe that's the whole point, though. That's not surprising. I don't think Rin expects to be understood. She told me once that art allows people to understand stuff they wouldn't understand otherwise. But all the same, she doesn't think it actually works that way. I'm surprised that Emmy talks about this with things with Rin this extensively enough to actually have Rin's opinion, such as it is. Although I expect that Rin could not, if she were so inclined, say the same thing about Emmy's. Unless, of course, Emmy's purposely keeping me in the dark about everything, which is likely, but unpleasant to think about. I drift down to this unpleasant train of thought for a while, losing track of the conversation. Hey, Emmy, I've been meaning to ask. Huh? Are you going to visit your father this year? From the way she said it, you'd think Emmy's mother was trying to talk about the weather. From the way Emmy reacts, it's clearly not the weather they're talking about. She flinches, a slight jerk of her head backwards as if she's just been slapped in the face. Can we talk about this later? Her voice sounds brittle, strained. It looks as if she's been severely shaken by the question. It seems like Mr. Urizaki misjudged how close Emmy and I are. Some things, it seems, are best not conversed around with me. Her father is one of these things. The accident that took her legs probably is another one of those things, if her reaction in an earlier conversation between her mother and myself is any indication. It doesn't take Emmy's mother long to realize she's screwed up. Of course we can, dear. I'm sorry for bringing it up. I just wanted to ask so I can make plans. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Emmy fidgets nervously, as if embarrassed by her own reaction. I confess that her reaction is confusing. She only just mentioned her father to me earlier today, less than a few hours ago even. Why did a simple question about whether she'll visit her father cause such a strong reaction? I don't know, Hisao. You basic thinking skills. Come on, dude. The accident and her father are obviously tied together. I'm pretty sure someone's mentioned that he died in the accident. If not, it's not a big leap in logic to assume. Oh, there's got to be baggage there too, because I don't know if this is the case, but I know EMTs who respond most often to accidents, and even with some of the more severe accidents, sometimes it takes a long time for people to succumb to their wounds. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they were in a terrible car accident and spent 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour waiting for rescue. The whole time being partially crushed, burned, pinned, maybe even hardly being able to breathe, having a head injury. It's very possible that she and her father were both conscious for the first part, even if he was mortally wounded. And she might have had to watch unable to move because of her pinned and crushed legs as her father slowly bled out and died. The whole time talking to him and him slipping into delirium as blood loss slowly starts affecting his brain, and who knows what he could have said. People say weird stuff that they don't mean when they're inhibited. Blood loss, alcohol, it happens. So my belief is that is where the real trauma comes from. It's the legs that got lost in the accident, but it's also the representation of her absolute inability to approach and comfort her father as he slowly bled to death. And that it was her legs, or lack thereof, that caused her to feel so helpless and to have to go through that traumatic experience. I have no idea if I'm right. That's what I'm thinking it is. It's not that hard to figure out, Hisao. Unless whatever sincerity she claimed to have reached by means of our talk the previous evening has suddenly evaporated. Or it didn't help as much as I thought, or claimed. I'll be right back. Gotta visit the little girl's room. Emmy gets up suddenly and leaves the table, leaving me and Missy Verzaki alone. I'm a little conflicted. Should I go after her, or should I stay here? It's obvious that Emmy's departure is not based on the call of the nature. Something's bothering her, and I have to know what it is. How to go about it. Okay. I don't want to screw this up. What did we learn? And I think it's a theme, and I think it's important. If you can't observe it directly, observe what it affects. I think we should talk to her mom. I think if we go, she obviously doesn't want us to be privy to this conversation. I think she has to go and kind of deal with stuff right now. And as we know, she's not really feeling like letting us in right now. So I think if we talk to her mom, even if it's not about this subject, even if it's just about talking to her and getting to know her better, that will benefit us far more. My haircut. I hate it. I hate my haircut so much. I hate when they mess up haircuts and make it look funny. Anyway. So, I hope I'm making the right choice here. There's an awkward silence at the table for a while after Emmy dashes off. I can't think of anything to say. Emmy's mother sighs, breaking the silence. Sorry about that, Hisao. I sometimes forget that Emmy's touchy about certain subjects. And I was talking about the wheelchair thing, too. Should I go after her? Heavens, no! She didn't leave the table to continue the conversation, you know? But if she's troubled, shouldn't someone help her? If it were anyone else, I'd say yes. But my daughter's stubborn as a mule, and if she wants to be alone, it's best to let her be alone. Otherwise, she'll probably say something she'll regret, which would cause you to say something you'd regret, and I would prefer that dinner didn't end with one of the both of you storming out of the house. If that were to happen, it'd be a terrible hostess, wouldn't I? I've already acted as a fool once today. That's okay. I shouldn't have brought up the wheelchair, apparently. Missy Verzaki frowned, clearly more bothered by Emmy's omission than she let on. I wish you wouldn't do that. It just makes me worry more, you know? She does this often? What, running off to the bathroom? No. I can't say she does. Keep injuries away from her mother, though? Well, that's a little more common. Every time I catch her lying like that, she assures me that the only reason she didn't tell me is because it wasn't a big deal. If it's any consolation, I'm sure the only reason I knew about it was because I saw her every day. That elicits a dry chuckle from across the table. Missy Verzaki sighs, a little sad. Still hesitant about getting close to people, huh? I keep hoping she'll get over that. It's funny, really. She's bounced back so well from the accident in so many ways. I guess some things never really go away. From the look of it, the whole thing still bothers her, too. She seems to be a little more willing to talk about the accident without Emmy around, though. Hey, I've got a question, if it's alright. Huh? What else did Emmy lose in that accident? The nurse said that she gets this way near the anniversary, and she won't talk about it to me. So you thought I'd fill you in, yeah, hopefully. Well, there's a problem with that request, you know? Let me guess, you promised Emmy that you wouldn't tell anyone if she didn't want you to know? That she didn't want to know? Or you don't know if she wants me to know? Something like that. I promised Emmy that she'd be the one to tell people the full story. But isn't that important? I'm clearly had a huge effect on her, and she's still like that after so long after the accident happened. That's true. It did have a long-lasting effect on her. There are a few things that she'll probably never really get over. For a moment, Missy Verzaki looks incredibly saddened, as if the old wound is bothering her. I suppose there are a few things I'll never really get over either. Another dry chuckle. With a shake of her head, Emmy's mother banishes the memory. Look, there's something you absolutely must understand about the way Emmy thinks about the accident. What's that? It wasn't a big deal. Somehow I managed to keep my mouth from falling open in surprise, but it takes some effort. That had to be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I kind of agree, but I'm guessing there's more to it than that. I beg your pardon. Okay, maybe it's not that simple, but it's a pretty accurate summation. Emmy believes that the accident did not define her, and that everything she's lost that day didn't define her either. She's not that girl who lost her legs. She's the fastest thing on no legs. Her optimism and energy came out of that wreck without a scratch, as far as she's concerned. Yet it goes beyond that, doesn't it? I mean, last night she told me that she refused to rely on me because it would make losing me too painful. Not really. You said she won't tell you about the accident, even though you've asked her about it before. The reason she won't talk about it with you is because to her, it's not something you absolutely need to know. Even if she wasn't terrified of getting too close to anyone, she still wouldn't talk about it. She's afraid of being close to me? Oh, goodness me, yes. For all that talk about being unscathed by the accident, she's gained the ugly knowledge of how quickly it can all be over. So she's not going to let people go especially close to her. She certainly won't resent any implication that she cannot work through this on her own. But I don't think she can. Oh no? Are you sure you've been dating my daughter, not somebody else? Trust me, Hisao. She can get through it on her own. She has nightmares, she can't sleep well, and she does this every year. Tell me, if she wasn't able to get through it on her own, do you really think she'd still be alive? She would have killed herself, or something equally melodramatic. So what, I shouldn't try to help her? I didn't say that. I hate seeing my daughter like this. I know that she could rely on someone else would let me relax. You just need to understand that accepting help goes against everything Emmy thinks about herself and the way the world works. If you still want her offer her help, then I guess that's your call. Honestly, I'd like you to, but I'd be silly not to warn you that it's not going to be easy. You just need to be patient with her. She's already closer to you than anyone else she's ever met at Yumiko. Well, that sure doesn't feel like we're very close. Good! That makes this part easier. What? Emmy's voice nearly gives me a heart attack. Oh, I didn't hear you come back, Emmy. How convenient. Wait, were you eavesdropping? No, just happened to come back at the right moment, I guess. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Emmy, Hisao was just... Emmy holds up a finger, cutting her mother off. On his way out of the house? Yeah, I know. Emmy's trembling with anger now, looking vaguely betrayed. Emmy, don't be ridiculous. We were just... You promised! The pain carried the last word almost too much for me to bear. The idea that I could hurt her this much is like being kicked in the gut. Emmy's mother looked similarly pained by the thought. And I kept that promise. Just listen, there's no reason to go throwing people out of the house. Emmy's mother seems to be both angry at her daughter at the outburst and embarrassed that I'm witness to it. Oh, I don't think I made a mistake, but oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's only one real solution to this problem, I think. It's okay. I'll go. No, really, that seems a little unnecessary. Don't worry about it. Thank you for dinner, Miss Ibarasaki, and for the advice. It was my pleasure, Hisao. I'm sorry we didn't get to the dessert. That's okay. I have to watch what I eat anyway. Good evening, Emmy, Miss Ibarasaki. The formality of our conversation, coupled with the fact that I'm getting ready to leave, seems to snap Emmy out of her anger. No, wait, I'm sorry. I've been so... and after last night, I just thought... You don't have to go. I take it back. It's okay. I can't help but smile sadly. Slightly. She can barely articulate her apology, and I really would like to stay. But I don't think I can right now. I need to think about what her mother said, and about what I'm going to do about us. I don't want to risk accidentally getting Emmy angry again in her current state either. No, I think I better leave. You seem pretty shook up, and, well, I'd only wind up trying to help you out again. I know you'd prefer I didn't, so I'm going to leave instead. But, hey, it's not a problem. You don't want a knight on a white charger, right? Just promise me one thing, okay? What? Don't be angry at your mom, okay? She was just trying to give me advice, that's all. Emmy nods, hesitant. Like the simplest idea is all she can grab onto at this point. She's so terribly off balance, but I can't do anything about that right now. Okay. See you tomorrow, okay? Running in the morning, don't forget. I can see that I've hurt Emmy by deciding to leave, but there's nothing I can do for her as this thing stands now. And I know that she's too stubborn to admit that she wants me to stick around. I watch various emotions cross Emmy's face as she tries to process everything that's just happened. Shortly comes that calm look again, like last night. That voice that tries so hard to sound careless. Sure, Hisao. See you around. Both of us are unwilling to concede emotion at this point, and I'm having a hard time keeping up my facade, so I turn on my heel and walk out the door. I'd be bawling my eyes out the whole way back to the bus station. I shut it behind me slowly, pausing for a moment as the latch catches my hand on the doorknob. Did I make the right decision just now? Should I have stayed and tried to work things out? No, I decide. Not in front of her mother like that. In spite of everything, I'd rather keep Emmy's mother insulated from that sort of anger that surfaced last night. Even though she's probably used to it, some protective instincts wants me to keep Emmy's image as a cheerful girl intact. With a start, I realize my hand is resting on the knob. I take my hand away, put it in my pocket, head down the slowly darkening street. I let out a long breath. The wait until tomorrow morning comes isn't going to be easy. Oh no. No. Oh my gosh. Fat Hisao. Jeez, she was... Oh my gosh. I think you made the right decision. I think I made the right decision, but oh my gosh. In any case, I have to think on what to say to Emmy. I must apologize, and I must get through to her somehow. On that account, something has been on my mind for most of the way back to my room. The letter of apology from Iwanako. I was so concerned about my new life when I received it that I didn't even bother to read it. Really read it. Now that I find myself in a similar position, my curiosity got rekindled. What does she want to let me know so badly? If nothing else, reading her thoughts might help me frame mine. I remember tossing it away. Dang, where did I throw that thing? Check under my desk, and that turned up nothing, so I look harder for harder to reach more unlikely locations. Well, now I know where our lost sock went, at least. Still no letter, though. When I try sweeping my arm under the nightstand, I feel something crinkly jammed between it and the wall. Grunting with a little effort, I reach for my prize and soon manage to bring it into the light. Bingo. I sit at my desk and spread the crumpled paper open. A flick turns on the table lamp. Skipping past the empty pleasantries, I look for the point where I stopped reading, and here it is. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing you because I felt like there were things I should have said about the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. The truth is, the times when I visited you at the hospital made me worry about you. I'm not talking about your health. You seemed to be more distant and disheartened. It was natural after something like that happened, I'm sure, but somehow I got the feeling that you'd given up on something back then. Happiness, maybe? Giving up on happiness. That sounds unpleasantly familiar. I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't say anything to comfort you. I am really sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered the most, even though I like you so much. At least now, finally, I can be more honest. If I could go back to those quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you not to give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I just said something. I hope you've managed to get back on your feet on your own. Now that the distance between us is also physical, it also feels more final, somehow. I wonder if we will meet again. Perhaps it's for the best that we don't. Still, if you would like to correspond with me, by all means write me back. I'd very much like to hear about your new school and how you're doing. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Iwanako. After finished reading the letter, I smoothed it out carefully and set it on my desk. Thank you, Iwanako. I wanted to answer yes to your question on that snowy winter day, but I never got to. By the time we met again, it was too late. Or so I thought. What would have happened if I'd behaved differently back in the dismally sterile hospital room? I'm sorry. There's no point in wondering now. There's no point in trying to forget either. I am who I am because of the things that happened to me, and all I look forward to experience, present, future, and past. It's true. Just like with that relationship I was talking about before, it hit the rocks and I went sinking down. And I regret some of the ways I behaved, but I learned from that. I became a better person, and I also became more in tune with who I was, who I wanted to be, and the kind of person I wanted to be with. I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything, despite the pain that came from that relationship. At the time, I hated it. I wanted to rip my own fingernails out at some points because I was so upset, confused, and just depressed about the situation. But I came out of it far stronger and far better. A person, a man, and I was a much better boyfriend in the future too. So just because something is a terrible experience, and I'd say honestly, the terrible experiences that I wish at the time were never could happening to me have been the things that have made the biggest difference in my life and helped me be who I am and find happiness in the end. So if you're going through something crazy right now, I know it's really hard to hear this, and it really won't feel like this, but there's a good chance that you're going to come out the other side of it stronger, better, and more prepared for what's coming next. And the past might just have taught me an important lesson now. Ooh. Motion. Act 4. Yeah, alright. I think this might be the closing act. Something's gonna close. But I wonder what would have happened if I had followed her, you know? This is going to be an interesting morning. But hey, I think we'll save this for the next time. We've now gotten some pretty good grasp on the future, what's coming, and I think Hisao's handling it better than he was last time. It's hard, man. I had little weepies in my eyes when he was like talking to her and leaving the house. God. It would have taken everything I had to have that conversation, and I probably would have collapsed. If I would have been crying all the way back, got on the bus, and I would have curled up and just like become a puddle of a person in that chair on the way home. Oh my gosh. But I'm okay. I think last time I walked away from that episode like feeling really depressed. I'm walking away from this one feeling determinedly hopeful. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, the point of no return. If you're flying a plane over like an ocean, for example, there's a point where it is physically impossible for you to turn around to go back. Usually it's a fuel limitation or just simply a distance combined with fuel limitation. But that's what we've hit, I think. I think Hisao and Emi have hit the point of no return. We can't go back to what we had before, and we shouldn't want to. That was not a good, healthy place. So whatever happens from here, we'll find and we'll land our relationship, whether it be in, the sunny tropical ports of paradise, or in the gloomy Siberian wasteland of moving on and trying again some other time and finding happiness another way. Dang, that sounds really depressing. But it'll be alright. It'll be okay. I really think it will be. We're definitely getting close to the end, though. I can really feel it. If we can overcome this, and we're also like the school year's like over, so we really can't have much more to this unless it like really goes on into like an epilogue or something. But we'll have to see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being a part of this story and experiencing all these things with me. And hopefully you enjoyed my crazy tales. This episode is kind of long, but I have a feeling that I still talked a lot more than we talked about the story, but I don't know. Like I said, somehow whoever wrote this, I think went through something very similar to me. Because the situation is so familiar in so many ways, and yet so alien too. Like, I never dated somebody who went through a super traumatic event like this. Not really. Not on this scale for sure, but the patterns I'm seeing, and that's the other thing too. Like the reason why Emi reminds me of that girl from so long ago. They both have this attitude of self-reliance. She also she never wanted a knight to come rescue her. She never wanted like big macho man sweep her off her feet and save the day. If anything, she wanted to sweep the man off his feet and save the day. She was always a big fan of shows like the show that showed like, I don't know, more equality in the heroics, Treasure Planet. She really liked the captain because she was a captain and a character. Her being female was secondary. She was just a character, happened to be captain of a ship and effective as one too. She just happened to be female. She always looked to those types of stories as motivation for herself. Spending so much time thinking about this, I wish I could like actually go and like find out what she's up to and like how life's been going. You know, I mean, I've gotten married, gotten a family. I don't know if she even knows that because she really broke off conversation when she got married. Don't blame her really, but also I wasn't being a creep or anything. Like, don't think I was being stalkerish. I'd absolutely moved on and had I think I had 2 girlfriends at the time when that happened. Like, not at the same time, but like I had a girlfriend and then something fell apart, and I was dating somebody else at the time when she eventually cut off all ties with me. But you know, you never let go of the time you spend with people and how much it was meaning for you, especially back then. So part of me wants to know how she's doing. It'd be really, really, really weird if she ended up watching this. There's like no chance at all that she would, but she'd know who she was if she did. Oh man. But like again, it's only a mild curiosity, and I hope that things work out here. I'm hopeful. Visual novels tend to be kind of like watching an anime or something. You tend to see the happier side of things in the end, but I've also seen a lot of tragedies, aka Fata Morgana. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we'll have to find out what happens next time. But hey, I feel like I avoided at least a bad ending, so that's good, right? Anyway, chin up, move forward, and we'll examine what Hisao's gonna do tomorrow, next week. So thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are awesome. And I can't wait to read some of your comments here. I hope you don't mind my ramblings. I guess you wouldn't. If you're here still, you know my ramblings happen, so thanks for sticking it out with me. And hopefully you find it relatable in a way. Because that's the kind of the point. We're here to share experiences together. Our nice little virtual literature club. Visual novels and all that. Anyway, I'm just in such an interesting mood tonight. Well, I guess I'll see you guys later. Hopefully on Monday. So thank you guys so much again. Until the next video you're watching me, but I will see me next. I'll see you there.